Reporter Govan Whittles is in Randburg for the latest on the former UKhozi DJ's case, who's been accused of instigating violence. Let's cross to him now live for more on what happened.
Thank you so much, Annika. We're joined by Advocate Mthunzi Mahaga, the national spokesperson of the NPA. Advocate Mahaga, so we've just had the appearance of Ngizwe Mqunu on charges of incitement of violence. Just take us through the NPA's comment regarding his appearance and what his role was in the alleged insurrection.
He allegedly made utterances during a press conference that he held in Bryanston, which is within the jurisdiction of the Randburg Magistrate Court, where these utterances amount to incitement to commit public violence. And we will be opposing bail because when he heard that he is wanted by law enforcement, he allegedly left Joburg through a private jet. And when pressure abounded for him to be arrested, he handed himself over to the police. So we'll be arguing that he's a flight risk, and we're arguing that the incidents or the commission of all these offenses induced a sense of outrage within the community. And we know the ripple effects of what happened throughout the country.
Is the NPA alleging that Mr. Mqunu had been part of instigating the insurrection in terms of the attacks on key infrastructure and warehouses? And are you able to give us details about the private jet he left with?
We will not be giving those details at the moment because that's part of an investigation, because it has a bearing on our decision to oppose bail. On the issue of insurrection, I don't want to comment on that one. We are confining ourselves with evidence that points to the commission of an offense of incitement to commit public violence.
Were you aware of Mr. Mqunu working with other people in his plans to allegedly incite violence?
That is part of an investigative process that I don't want to compromise on.
All right, thank you so much. That's Advocate Mthunzi Mahaga. He's the national spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority, and some interesting information coming through about the appearance here. It does look like there are more questions that are being asked. I'll just put it in there at the moment.
A number of instigators, but for now, according to law enforcement, they have arrested about 6, but those that have appeared in court, there are about 4 of them, including Mr. Mqunu.
From Newsroom Africa, the state says it wants to gather more information. What is it exactly that is missing in this case?
What is missing is information that will help us in our opposition of bail. There are information that is pointing to him being a flight risk, and that information is needed for us to make a determination to what extent are we going to oppose bail against him.
It's Govan again. To which extent, or are you able to say if Mr. Mqunu is being accused of masterminding the instability that we saw in Gauteng and KZN?
Evidence that we have relates to utterances that he made during the public press conference that he held. In terms of masterminding it, I'm not able to comment at that stage because there's a wide range of investigations that are conducted which might lead to more charges being added on him.
Again from Newsroom Africa, his legal team is arguing that there is a misinterpretation of a word that is now being made to as though he was inciting violence. Your reaction to that?
We have assessed the video that was recorded during the press conference. We have had a translator of Zulu, and we are convinced that the words that he used amount to the commission of an offense of incitement to commit public violence.
Just perhaps finally, can you at least clarify what is the charge at this stage?
At the moment, evidence that we've collated is sufficient to prove, when the prosecution proceeds, an offense of incitement to commit public violence. That is the only charge that he's facing. But we are analyzing the evidence, we are analyzing the video recordings, and we are conducting further investigations with a possibility of adding other charges.
All right, thank you. Once again, that's the national spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority, Advocate Mthunzi Mahaga. Some interesting information regarding the private jet used to move from Gauteng to Durban, and according to Advocate Mahaga, it appears that they may be bringing more people to court soon on more charges of incitement to violence, and maybe adding more charges to that charge that Ngizwe Mqunu is facing here at the Randburg Magistrates Court. He'll be held at the Pretoria or the Johannesburg Central Police Station until the 28th of July, when he'll reappear here for a bail application. Annika.
All right, that's quite a long remand for a Schedule 1 offence. Just unpack very quickly, Govan, if you can, this private jet scenario that's been painted. It's fascinating.
A series of events that unfolded according to the state, and it begins with the press conference which Ngizwe Mkunu held at KwaMaimai in Pretoria, in Maboneng, and then follows, according to the NPA, that he made those statements, and when he realized people were going to arrest him, he took a private jet from Gauteng to Durban. Here we have Bonginkosi Nkanyile. He's a Fees Must Fall activist. He's also come here to support Ngizwe Mkunu and is joined by some of the family of Mr. Mkunu. Let's listen in to what he has to say.
Okay, I am here to speak on behalf of Ngizwe Mkunu's family. The family, of course, it is very saddened about how the court has handled the matter today. The family, of course, it is very dumbfounded because those who were inside the court, I'm sure they were able to see that this was a Schedule 1 offense, and under normal circumstances or under ordinary situation, when it is Schedule 1 offense, bail becomes something which becomes automatic. But today we're not able to see that. Instead, the case was postponed for the 28th. So on behalf of the family, as I've been chosen by the family to come and declare that we are very dumbfounded about how the court has dealt with the matter. And if the court will continue to deal with this matter, we're very worried whether justice is going to be served.
The reluctance to grant him bail was based on the state saying he's a flight risk because they have evidence that he left Gauteng with the private jet to Durban after realizing the police were looking for him. Do you know about this private jet? Whose jet was it? Can you confirm that it happened?
I cannot confirm on the private jet, but what I can tell you now is that if I leave with a private jet and I also come back because I see on the news that I'm looked by the cops, I come back and I go submit myself. How do you say now I'm a flight risk? Any sane person can tell you now, if the police say they are looking for you and you go, you submit yourself, how am I be the very first person to run away from the case?
Mr. Kanyile, to be fair, he didn't just submit himself. He had posted a number of times that he is evading the arrest and he was scared of being arrested by the police.
We know Ngizwe Mkunu, he has never been scared. We know Ngizwe Mkunu, he has never, us who are close to him, I can tell you now, he's an innocent man. And just to make these things clear, it is very wrong of government when people are looting the malls, when people are looting the streets, and you want to blame few individuals. Anyone who lives in South Africa will tell you now that people looted the malls because in South Africa, this government is presiding over hungry people. That is the reason why people looted. The arrest of Jacob Zuma, when former President Zuma was arrested, his arrest gave platform for people
from
to
Govan Whittles, bringing you the latest there on that court appearance of the radio DJ who's been accused of inciting violence, and stories about him leaving town on a private jet when he found out that police were looking for him. Fascinating, but the case has been remanded.